Welcome to the Global Founder. I'm Vasiliki Panagi, and today we're joined by Mark Balneger, who works in global expansion and partnerships in the student mobility industry. Mark, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me today.
To begin, could you introduce yourself and tell us what you do at Better?
Okay, well, my name, like you said, perfectly almost. My name is Mark Balneger, and I'm head of market development at Better Tech. And we are creating technical solutions for everybody working in international student mobility. So universities, learning institutions, student recruiters, and other service providers related to that industry, basically.
And how would you describe the company and the role it plays in this space?
Ooh, they are definitely innovators. My team are veterans in this industry. And they saw things that they didn't like or think that they could do better, and that's why they started this company to help this industry, which is quite an old school traditional industry, to lift them up to the modern day world, I guess. Yeah.
And what does your role involve on a practical level?
So I was first sort of headhunted for a position focusing on making regional partnerships. So my position was regional partnership manager Korea. And then, because I'm from Europe, it evolved into Korea and Europe, and now I'm head of whole market development for the company. What that entails is this industry is very relationship based. So my day-to-day is constantly making and improving relationships, and on the other side, since we are a small team, I'm part of the business development of the company with strategies, making new products. But my role is mostly customer facing. So I call myself, and my coworkers still call me white monkey, because I'm always in the front dancing for the people. No, I like talking to people and managing relationships. So that is, I think, in a nutshell, what I do.
And what first drew you to the international education and student mobility space?
Actually, I had no idea about it before I joined this company. Before I was asked to join, I was like, education. My background's in marketing, and I had nothing to do with education. But the person who recommended me thought it would be a good fit for me, since I also was an international student myself, and they were correct, basically. So, yeah.
And can you please walk us through your professional background and how that led you to work with what you're doing now?
Oh, that's a long story, a quite interesting story. It takes me back to college. I was studying international marketing management in the Netherlands. And because that is a global bachelor or an international bachelor, we had to do a mandatory study abroad. And I picked 5 places I wanted to go to, and then like Canada, US, I think Japan, and 2 other countries, maybe in Europe. My school called me up and they said, everything you picked is full. And I was like, oh, do I have to wait a year? What is the plan? And they asked me if I wanted to go to Korea. And that's how I ended up in Korea for the first time as an international student. Fell in love with Korea, liked it. And then in 2015, I came back to Korea as a working holiday, not student, on a working holiday visa. My first job in Korea was in a whiskey cigar bar, which then it was fun. It paid the rent, and one of my coworkers worked in Korean entertainment, in acting in dramas and movies. That's how I got into that industry as well. I worked in Korean entertainment industry for a couple of years, and then I found a job at a Korean startup in their global marketing department, and that was really sort of the start of my career in Korea, basically.
And from your perspective, what are some of the biggest barriers that still exist for students and institutions trying to access international education?
Trying to international. Lack of information is one thing, and then constantly changing visa regulations and policies from either governments or from universities as well, which makes it tricky. Yeah.
And from your experience of working in Korea, what has stood out most?
What stood out most to me? It's different. It's definitely different from the Netherlands.
Yes.
In Europe, we have a work-life balance more. In Korea, they seem to forget about that most of the time. It is changing, though. There's a lot more people standing up and unpaid overtime in the Netherlands that would not make any sense, but in Korea it's the norm. And the heshik, or the constantly drinking after work, which is also going down in Korea, but that is definitely new to me. One thing I realized when working in the startup was we had a company meeting and the boss was angry about something, and they were like, "Oh, this and this and this. We need solutions for this." And then I raised my hand because I had an idea. Because in the Netherlands it's very horizontal. And then one of my coworkers stopped me and he said, "This is not the time to give your idea. You have to wait." Basically, so it's just sort of a facade. So there's being angry and asking for solutions, but nobody gives any idea. We don't discuss as a team or whatever. You have to go through this very vertical, tiring chain, which is very inefficient in my opinion. I prefer horizontal hierarchies, but that is one of the things. If you're working in a Korean company, it doesn't matter if it requires you to speak Korean or English or any other language, that hierarchy system is still the biggest, one of the biggest things in working in Korean companies.
And if we compare the Korean market to other markets, what differences did you notice?
In terms of my industry?
Yes.
They are very slow. Especially, I've been working with Korean universities, and again, even in universities, they are more archaic as well, and the hierarchy is even more vertical. So, starting something or having an innovation when it comes to higher education, it takes a long time for people to adapt or for someone to take a chance, because they've been doing stuff for how many years, and it's hard for them to try something new. But now they have no choice anymore, because all Korean universities, or most Korean universities, are struggling with admissions, domestic and international. So they need to try new things, at least to help their university survive.
Well, for professionals that are outside of Korea and they are considering building a career here, what opportunities do you think that they often overlook?
When people think of starting a career in Korea, most of them just think about Seoul, but there's opportunity everywhere. You just have to know how to find it, I guess. Every region wants to revitalize their region. Every government and every local government wants to do that. So they're supporting people who want to do that. And those are available outside of Seoul. But if your goal is, I just want to live in Seoul, then you miss all the opportunities that Korea has to offer, in my opinion.
And what challenges should they be prepared for?
That depends on which country they're coming from, basically.
Okay.
Korea is not an easy place to live. I'm from the Netherlands. Everything's easy there, in my opinion. And it's also very boring, because my personality doesn't like easy. Korea is a roller coaster of emotions and challenges. That's why I like it. And you have to be ready for that, especially if you come from the safe and cushy Western markets. Then Korea can be challenging, but you gotta go with the Korean flow. As I like to say, you shouldn't go against it, basically.
A large part of your work involves operating across markets and cultures. And what has that experience taught you about international business?
So I had the luck of, when I was studying in the university, that we had a course called Intercultural Sensitivity, which prepared me a lot for this work already, even though I didn't know I would end up here. Every culture has their own rules or values, and if you want to do business with these people, you have to learn about their values and find a balance between keeping your own and of the other culture.
And what advice would you give to professionals who want to build careers that are genuinely international in scope?
Never stop learning, I guess. It sounds very cliche. Do I have a better answer? International in scope, that means you have to become more open-minded yourself. And you also need to be aware that if you're going to do more stuff internationally, that maybe you had a view of yourself which will evolve when you start doing things outside of your little bubble, and then you will grow as a person. It's not easy, especially for me, when I became an international student, that's when it started for me. So I had to go outside my bubble, and then my bubble grew bigger, and then I tried to go back home. Those people's bubbles didn't grow, so I felt disconnected to those people. So be ready to lose people and meet new people and gain new people. That is, I think, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So,
I like that one. To wrap up, looking ahead, what excites you most about the future of international education and global collaboration?
I feel now everybody has the opportunity to learn anything, anywhere. Personally, I think my life wouldn't be like this if I wasn't an international student. And I want everybody to be able to experience being an international student, like our cameraman over there as well. It really makes you a better person or more aware of what's going on around you. You can stay in your little bubble, but then you're not experiencing life to the fullest, I think. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Mark, for being here. To discover more interesting stories, you can visit us at theglobalfounder.com. Thank you for watching and see you in the next interview.